Hi there, Lisa Figuth with the Figs Fowl Farm. Hey, if you're watching this YouTube channel because you think I have all the latest, greatest tips and the perfect garden to show you, well, then you're watching the wrong channel because I'm here to show you the realities of gardening, to encourage you who are struggling with your gardens and give you a few tips on what I've learned in the process, and hopefully you'll grow more than just a couple of tomato plants. And today I'm going to be talking about something that I did this last year that I invested in, and I am so happy that I did. One more step up in my gardening skills, and that is a greenhouse. Yeah, we're going to talk about my greenhouse. So this is what I did to set up my little greenhouse. First of all, it only had 2 shelves on each side, and I wanted a whole lot more space. So I took some wood and I built some long shelves along the back. So I got 3 extra shelves there, nice big long ones. And then I took some PVC pipe and built a little frame and put some wire on top of it. And so that gave me 2 more shelves, on the one on the left and one on the right, and gave me a lot more space for me to put everything inside of my greenhouse. So the next thing I invested in were sets of heating pads that go underneath all of your seeds. And things like peppers and eggplant, they like to be nice and warm in order to germinate and grow really well in your greenhouse. It has a little wand that you can put down in the soil that will give you the correct temperature of what's going on in the soil itself, and then you can regulate it as to how warm you want it to be, and it's just the greatest little setup. The next thing that I did was I bought enough grow lights to go over each one of the shelves that I have in the greenhouse. And then I put a timer on it so that it's not on all the time. It just comes on enough to supplement the sunlight that the plants get during the day. The last thing that I got was a heater. Now, I learned my lesson by setting my greenhouse on fire. So I bought a heater that wouldn't catch anything on fire. It's actually a heater that's made for chicken coops. It's flat and it radiates heat, but it doesn't get so hot that if it touches something, it will set it on fire. It has worked perfect for those really cold times in the winter when I want to keep my stuff from freezing. The last thing that I would suggest is having a little thermometer in your greenhouse. That way you can keep track of the temperature in there. That's my setup for my greenhouse. It's worked really well. What I use mine for is just for all my little seedlings, getting them started. And it's just the perfect little guy for that. It seems like everything that I do in gardening, I have problems and things that go wrong, and having my greenhouse has been right there along with everything else. First thing is my zipper is not working anymore. So I guess I wouldn't really recommend this brand. It's only the second year that I'm using it, and already the zipper doesn't close properly. I had to take a big needle and thread and sew it completely closed so that it would shut. The other thing is that my greenhouse gets too hot sometimes, so I have to open it up every day, which I guess is normal for a greenhouse. You want to watch the temperatures because otherwise things bolt. Like this stuff here, it was growing great, but it got too hot. All of the greens kind of thing, these are Asian greens and spinach and stuff like that, will bolt really easily if it gets too hot. So I have to be very careful with that. And then on the other side, things got too cold. Apparently my plug got unplugged a couple of times. It got really cold, down into the 20s, so all of my tomato plants, my tomatillos, some of my peppers, they all froze. But I didn't give up. The one thing that I've learned too that you have to be careful of is making sure that you get everything watered consistently and that things don't dry out. In those little tiny pony packs, they can dry out really easy, and it happened, and I lost everything that was in it. So now I have little trays, little shallow trays that sit underneath all of my plants, and so when I water, there's a little thin layer of water in the bottom, and the plants can suck that up from the bottom and help them to stay alive and be happy and keep growing. You just want to make sure you don't have too much water there to where you drown everything. Unbelievable. I have bugs in my greenhouse. I can see having it in the garden in the summertime, but inside my greenhouse, I have aphids. I have aphids on my little tomato plants, and I have little gnats flying around. So I have bugs in my greenhouse. I know how to get rid of them. A little soapy water will kill all the aphids. Little strips will catch the gnats, and I'll be okay, but seriously, bugs in the greenhouse. Well, my little greenhouse is really not economical enough to grow things in it all winter long, but it's really great for all of the little seedlings. I've grown so much lettuce and onions, and all of my tomatoes are doing great, broccolis and Brussels sprouts and cabbages, and I've already been able to put those little tiny babies into my garden, and I'm so excited. I got such a head start because of my little greenhouse. Well, there you go. I love my greenhouse. I have saved so much money and grown so many things, but it wasn't without problems. Like usual here on the Figs Fowl Farm, I had bugs inside of it, my zipper broke, things got too hot and bolted. There's going to be problems with everything. Nothing's perfect in life, but that's okay. I love my greenhouse, and hopefully this will inspire you to invest in one yourself. Well, thanks for watching the Figs Fowl Farm. Like, subscribe, leave me a little message, and we'll see you next time.